Hello friends, how is it going? It's me, Betty Jean. It is finally that time. The end of the year is here and I'm going to be doing my 2023 eyeshadow palette ranking. The grand finale to this year of makeup. I tried, if I counted correctly, 91 palettes this year and I'm gonna be ranking all of them. I do ranking videos pretty frequently throughout the year. I always rank my recent 10 palettes. I've in the past ranked specific brands, which I think I'm gonna bring back again next year because it's been a while since I've ranked brands, you know, and I need to refresh it, revamp it, because there's been new palettes from various brands and I wanna be able to see where they all stand against each other. But this time specifically, we're ranking the 91 palettes that I tried in 2023. I'm really excited to share it with you. I tried some amazing palettes this year and I am at a place with my makeup journey where if I receive something in PR or if there's something popular out there that people are excited about, but I'm just personally not, and it's not something I think I'm gonna really get use out of, I just tend not to even use it in the first place. So almost everything that I tried truly was good. There are some things in this setup that were decluttered because my declutter series did finish a few weeks ago. But honestly, the majority of these did not even end up getting decluttered this year just because I've been very impressed with various formulas and color stories and it's been really, really fun. But I do still want to rank everything for you and just share my thoughts, my feelings, all of the things, and I'm excited to hear your thoughts as well. And of course, please don't get offended if maybe your favorite palettes are in the bottom for me. We all have different preferences. I'm so glad they're your favorites. There might be some top ones in my favorites that aren't really your cup of tea either, and that's okay. That's how the world works. Before we hop into it, I did of course film this look. It should already be up on my Instagram and YouTube shorts by the time this video goes up. And as far as my accessories today go, these plugs are Love Kills Boutique. These earrings are from 5 Lemons, and this nail polish is Your Heart's a Black Hole from Mooncat. So yeah, without further ado, let's just hop in and chat about all 91 palettes that I tried in 2023 and get to ranking. All right, so let's just kick it off. I'm gonna try to breeze through these as fast as possible, just give you my general thoughts and feelings and why it's ranked where it is, but I don't wanna dawdle too long on everything. I do have videos with every single palette you're gonna see here today, whether it's on my channel or Instagram or both. You can go check out my various platforms if you want some inspo. I also do have discount codes with various brands. All of those will be listed in the description box. If you feel like shopping any of these, you can check and see if I have a code. Maybe it'll save you some money. Also, I do save all of my B-roll swatches throughout the year in preparation for this video, just so you can also see these swatched out. But throughout this year, I was working on my sleeve where I do my swatches. So there's gonna be certain B-roll clips where there'll be no tattoo and then there'll be full tattoo. So it's a mixture. I simply wasn't going to re-swatch all 91 palettes. My arm would have probably fallen off. So next year there won't be that because it's done. One more quick thing before we actually dive into the ranking. I did do a collaboration this year alongside of Makeup Just for Fun and Lauren May Beauty with Odin's Eye, and just for the sake of trying to not be biased, I'm not going to be including any of these three in the ranking because obviously my palette is my favorite of the year because I got to create it and I love it with my whole heart, and because I did it alongside of these two as they did their palettes. I don't know, I just have such a bias toward these. I love them, I'm so protective over them, and I will not rank them because they're my favorite. This was such a favorite moment of the year. But I will give you a quick peek at them. This one's Flora Story from Makeup Just for Fun. Cute garden energy. This is Lauren's palette, the Sea Talk. Very much a shimmery underwater magical situation. And then my palette, the Planet Spirits. I did very much brights, intense kind of vibes. I love my tealy green shades. I love my pops of pink. I'm just so obsessed. This was such a happy moment. I'm so thrilled that I got to do this. Let's kick it off with number 91. It's gonna be my Creature Cosmetics Sleepaway Camp. Unfortunately, this was my least favorite palette of the year. Not only does this color story mean nothing to me, it's just a rainbow palette. There's nothing about this that relates to the Sleepaway Camp vibe in my opinion, but also the formula just isn't my cup of tea. The mattes are kind of sheer and I do not like these shimmers. They're basically just satins. They're so subtle. This is just not my formula. This is not my vibe. I have to be really impressed to enjoy a rainbow palette just because I prefer more of a curated creative color story, and this just was not it, unfortunately. Number 90 is the lavender one from Lawless. I love a lot of things from Lawless. Their eyeshadows are just not for me. The color story's cute enough. cutesy purple vibes. It's just very subtle. The mattes are very sheer. The shimmers are very just muted and subpar. I'm sure this is some people's cup of tea if you want a little bit more of a sheer situation. That's not what I want. That's why this one's ranked here, but I did enjoy this more than the Sleepaway Camp. Number 89 is the Reanimator by Creature Cosmetics. Unfortunately, this one also similar to the Sleepaway Camp. Formula is just not my cup of tea. Mattes are kind of sheer. The satins are so subpar. I don't love that there's a pressed glitter in here. This color story I do love. I love the green, purple, blue vibe, but formula-wise, it is just not for me. Number 88 is the Cala palette from Ace Beauté, which could be surprising to you if you saw me play with these, because I do actually really enjoy the formulas. I thought these little travel palettes were really cute. This is just not really a color story I gravitate towards. I'm not really a neutral girly. I think this was done well. I like the arrangement of mattes and shimmers. I think there's a lot of good undertones to get you to a lot of different types of neutral looks. It's just not for me. I'm not a neutral person, so this one I did not end up keeping. By the way, everything so far that's ranked low was decluttered. I will let you know where the cutoff point is, where I no longer have reached declutter zone, just so you are aware of like how much I didn't like these versus things that I did keep. And like this one, again, this one's not bad. It's just not for me. Number 87 is the Electric Pink from Sigma. I actually do really enjoy Sigma's formulas. I think the mattes perform well and the shimmers have a really nice metallic gleam to them. And I thought this pinky color story was cute, but as I was using it, I was just kind of like, this is a little too just neutral pink for me. There you have it. I don't think it's bad. It's just not my vibe. And I don't even really have full in-depth reasons necessarily on like why something might be ranked above the other. It's just like, in this case, I like this color story more than I liked this one, so that's why I ranked it higher. And then like the next one, I enjoy the color story more, but there's also formula issues, which is why the next one's ranked above it. So on and so forth, you get it. A lot of these are just based on my own internal vibes on how I came to this conclusion. Number 86 is the Legend of Korra palette from ColourPop. I was very excited for this because color story-wise, this is everything that I wanted the original Avatar Last Airbender palette to be with the bright greens. They needed the bright greens so bad. But there are some formula issues in here that I don't like. I feel like some of the mattes were even a little sheer. This Future Industries is so sheer. It like barely does anything on the lid. It's nitpicky stuff. Overall, it's not a bad palette. There were just a few nitpicky things that I didn't love about this one, which is why it got ranked as low as it did. It wasn't one that I felt excited about, and therefore it is no longer going to exist in my collection after today. 85 is going to be my alter ego Sakura palette. This is a dupe for the Natasha Denona Retro, I believe is what it's called. Love this color story. I think it's cool. I like these muted dusty vibes. Overall, I like Alter Ego's formulas. I just have such a bone to pick with the fact that this brand tends to do this like cream matte formula, which I know is supposedly replicating or trying to replicate the Natasha Denona formula. I'm not a Natasha Denona person. It's not really a brand I shop from. I do not like this formula from Alter Ego. It is so sheer. It will never get as saturated as it looks in the pan, and that always bugs me. And it's so nitpicky, but that literally will turn me off to a palette, unfortunately. This is just one I'm not gonna find myself needing to continuously revisit. I played with it once or twice and that was kind of enough for me. On the topic of Alter Ego, 84 is the Coastal palette. And I do like this one more in the sense that we don't have any of those cream matte formulas in here, which makes me really happy. There is the weird Petri dish shade. This is supposed to be replicating one of the Huda Beauty palettes, which name I am blanking on because I'm not super familiar with the Huda Beauty palettes, but it's duping one of those vibes. And I mean, overall it's cute. I think the shimmers in here are really pretty. It's just, again, kind of leaning a little bit more on that like pinky neutral, which is just not really something I gravitate towards. So didn't really want to rank this one much higher, but I did want to rank this higher than the Sakura because at least this doesn't have the weird cream to matte. Number 83 is the Fleur palette from Ace Beauté. It's another one of those like flowery travel palettes. And I'll be honest with you, I almost kept all of these in the declutter just because of that floral design. I think that's really pretty having the flowers pressed in here. It's cute. It's not a bad palette. Again, I like the arrangement from light to dark. We have different undertones with cool and warm. I don't love monochromatic palettes. It's not my favorite thing. I'd rather have something with more colors and more variety. I want to see different things. Even if there was like a couple shades leaning bluish or red in this palette, I think that would have like kicked it up a notch for me, but I just personally don't need to like have a ton of purple palettes in my collection. It's just not necessary for me. So this one just doesn't do anything so special for me that I felt the need to either keep it or rank it higher. Number 82 is the Trick or Treat palette from Creature Cosmetics. This is the final palette I have from this brand. And I do feel like the formula is much better in this one. I feel like the mattes perform better. They have more saturation. Some of the shimmers in here have a little bit more intensity. There is a glitter in here, which again, I don't love. But overall, formula-wise, this one was much, much better than the other two I tried. However, it's still just not something I'm obsessed with. I love this franchise. Trick or Treat is one of my favorite like spooky time movies ever. Love these colors. I love the vibes so much. It's just, again, formula-wise, it didn't quite hit the mark for me. Number 81, kind of rounding out that bottom 11, so to speak. I kind of hate that it didn't end on like a 90. It was 91, but it is what it is. But 81 is my Beachy palette from Sigma. This is another one of those little like 9 pans. I was pleasantly surprised with this one. For it being like a neutral palette with pops of blue beachy vibes, I feel like this gets very dark and grungy really easily, which I don't feel like beachy palettes usually do. I really enjoyed the metallics in here. I thought they were pretty. Again, it's just not really a palette I found myself wanting to continue reaching for. I'm just not a play with neutrals and add a pop of blue kind of girl. It's just not my journey. And even if it was my journey, I don't prefer warm neutrals. I prefer cool tone neutrals. So this one just isn't totally my vibe. Next up, number 80 is this palette from Ladybug Glow. And I'll be honest, I don't know what the name of this palette is. It's the first palette the brand came out with, and it's not written on the package at all. I don't know what it's called. This was fine. I thought like the mattes performed fine. The multi-chromes are really pretty, but overall this color story just kind of confuses me. And like, anytime I've revisited this palette, like looking at it or anything or comparing palettes in my collection, this is just one that isn't speaking to my soul. The mattes are all really fun, but these multi-chromes for me just don't match. They're so dark, and I feel like, I don't know, like you can add the black obviously to deepen anything up, but overall this just like kind of felt chaotic to me, and not in a way that I like. I like a chaotic color story, but this just felt kind of mismatched. So it just wasn't a big hit for me. Number 79 is my 2-Up palette from Lethal Cosmetics. I love Lethal Cosmetics, but this palette just wasn't really it for me. The mattes were very sheer leaning. I wanted them to be more punchy, more impactful, like the original like 1-Up palette was. The shimmers are pretty in here, but that's kind of the only good thing I have to say about it. I also just found myself kind of bored when I used it. Overall, I like the color story of this more than most of the things I've talked about so far, and the formula is not horrible. It just really wasn't what I expected from Lethal. It made me a little sad, so yeah, that's where this one landed. Number 78 is the Cryo palette from Game Beauty. This is part of their little Elemental Blasts palette collection. Little 9-pan, blue, super fun, super cute. We have a really pretty multi-chrome down here. It's gorgeous, and I believe this one's a duochrome as well. I love the fact that even though this is monochromatic, we have different undertones of blue, but overall, at the end of the day, it's a monochromatic blue palette. Like I said before, I don't feel the need to hoard monochrome palettes. It's just not my journey. So even though this is a fine palette, I really enjoyed the formulas. I thought it was cute. It's just not like something that I wanted to keep or rank higher. It's just a blue palette. Number 77 is the Wheat Belt palette from Geology Cosmetics. I was really, really excited for this when they were teasing it. I don't love that it's so big. I do not like how bulky this packaging is. I wish it was sleek like their first palette. Overall, I like these colors, but I don't know. I can't put my finger on it, but there's something about it that just makes me not really inspired to reach for it again. I don't know what it was. Like I used it and I enjoyed it, but I don't know. I guess it just didn't do enough for me. I don't even want to say I feel bored with it because that sounds harsh because it's cute. There's just something about it I can't put my finger on. I don't hate this palette, but I wasn't in love with it either. So this was very much a kind of meh palette for me. We're kind of in the zone now of things that I still technically did declutter recently, but I didn't like hate them. They were just kind of like, not for me. I don't have major horrible things to say about them. They just didn't quite hit the nail on the head. Number 76, the Lost in Wonderland palette from ColourPop. One of the few ColourPop palettes I tried this year. I think I only tried this one in the Legend of Korra one, actually. This one I really wanted to love. I wanted to love it so bad, but color story-wise, there needed to be a darker matte. I mean, we have this one that has sparkle pressed into it, but I also feel like that's not the matte that I need. Like I would have absolutely replaced this beige with like a darker purple. I feel like that would have changed so much. The shimmers are really pretty in here, but I don't know. I feel kind of the same way that I was just talking about, where like I used it and then I just didn't really feel compelled to ever use it again. That's just kind of how it is. It just did not totally hit for me. Oh man, 75. Can you believe I've ranked a Melt palette so lowly and also did declutter it? I don't think I've ever done that before. I love Melt Cosmetics. I love their palettes, but the Electric palette, it just didn't do it for me. And again, formula-wise, this is great. I love Melt's formulas. I think their mattes are pigmented and saturated and amazing. And their metallics are really nice. Like they look really metallic on the lids. I was really impressed with this dark blue. But again, I also just felt kind of bored with this one. Like after I used it, I was like, I don't feel any inspiration to use this again. I don't love that there's those random browns in the middle. Overall, this is one that I feel like I should have sat on for a little longer before buying it, because this is just not one that I needed to have. Number 74 is the Warriors Wear Pink palette from Gourmet Girls and Serious Sodo. This is a really cool palette, really cool concept. I love the meaning behind this. I think that's a beautiful message, and I do think this color story is absolutely stunning. It's just not one that I felt like I had to keep around. I don't know, there was just something about it. I don't know what it was. I can't put my finger on it. This one was just very much like middle of the road for me. Like it was not bad. I don't really have anything negative to say, but I also kind of forgot about it a little bit. And I feel bad about that, but it just kind of is what it is. Not every palette I try is gonna be the most memorable thing. And this one just kind of fell in that zone where it was fine. It just isn't maybe for me. Number 73 is the Glaminatrix Sugar and Spice. There are things I really, really loved about this one, like so much so that I wanted to rank it above a lot of these other things. But then there's things that I didn't love about it. Overall, formula-wise, I thought this was beautiful. The mattes are great to work with. These shimmers and multi-chromes are so sparkly and shifty. I love these shimmers. Like they make it so amazing. I love these pops of color on the bottom. They almost look like they're glowing on your eyes. I hate this neutral row in the middle. That just does nothing for me. Again, I'm not a neutral girly. I also hate that there's two beiges. We did not need two beiges. If that middle row could have been anything else, I think this palette would have gotten ranked much, much higher and possibly even stayed in my collection, because I really like these shimmers, but not enough to keep it kicking around for just the shimmers, you know? I just hate that middle row. I know that's so nitpicky, but it's my ranking. Number 72, the Sand and the Sea. And this is also actually the cutoff of the final thing that I decluttered. Everything else after this, I did keep in my collection, but this is the last thing I decluttered. So the highest ranked thing that I decluttered this year is Bella Beauty Bar's The Sun and the Sea. Really love Bella Beauty Bar. I love their formulas. I love their palettes. And this is beautiful. Even though I don't love warm neutrals, which is the top row, I think this all played together really well. I liked that it was just a couple neutrals with the rosy pinks, with the blues. I do think aesthetically this is really nice. It's just not something I felt like I needed to keep around. I didn't think I was gonna need to revisit it. It just wasn't my like #1 favorite. Formula-wise, it's great, but vibes-wise, it just wasn't completely there for me. Like there's so many other palettes from this brand that I'm obsessed with, and this just wasn't one of them, and that's okay. Moving on to number 71, and this is again, at the point where I have kept everything. So even though there's some things that are still ranked lower on this list, I enjoy them. I think they're really, really good palettes, and I'm keeping them. I'm still gonna love them. So don't get offended at anything from this point on if it's not ranked higher, because I literally kept it from my eyeshadow palette declutter. And I feel like I was kind of ruthless in my declutter this year. I got rid of quite a bit of things, and these ones made the cut. So yay. Number 71 is the Game Beauty Phantom Thieves palette. This is very, very cute. This whole collaboration from the beginning of the year made me want to play the game, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm trying to pick it back up because I took a break from it. But I think this is fun. And at first glance, I thought this was just a typical rainbow palette, but I don't really think it is. There's no orange. We have the weird fuchsia with the pink. I really like the shimmers that are in here. I like this shade of yellow. There's something weird about it that I'm into. Overall, I thought this was fun. I think it's cool, it's bright, it's exciting. And also, I am a big sucker for this theme. I can't lie. And number 70 is the other one from the collection. This is the Metaverse palette. This is kind of like the companion to the other one. I like the formula just the same. The shimmers are really nice. The mattes perform well. I like this color story more than the Phantom Thieves just because this skews even further away from just a brights palette. I like the dusty weirdness. I think it's really cute, but I'm mostly obsessed with the theme, not gonna lie. And that's why they're kind of ranked a little bit low on the like now part of the video where I've kept everything, but they're still ranked low. I am mostly just obsessed with the theming. I'm a sucker for it now that I'm into the game. But I still think they're fun. I think they're fun to play with. Number 69 is the Flora palette, one of those little Ace Beauté palettes. Really, really enjoyed this one. Again, I never had anything bad to say about the formulas from these, and this one definitely spoke to me more color story-wise because it's not just a monochromatic yellow. This is very much a cheerful sunflower palette. We have those like reds and orangey tones in here. That's what made this palette stand out so much more than just being a monochromatic palette. Like just adding a few extra like shades in here really kicks it up a notch. Number 68 is the Electro palette from Game Beauty. Again, part of that little elementals situation. This one I really like. And again, I know that it's monochromatic, but hear me out. This one does so much more for me monochromatic wise than the Ace Beauté one did that I talked about earlier. And during my declutter, it was kind of like, I definitely don't need all these purple palettes, but this one made the cut. I love this duochrome. I love this multi-chrome, it's insane. I really like that we have a lot of different undertones between like cooler toned violet-y shades and then warmer toned like plummy shades. I think this was really cute. I think this is well done. I really enjoyed playing with it. And 67 is the Dendro palette, also from Game Beauty. Similar thing, love the formulas, but like that Flora palette, this one just steps outside of that monochromatic just a little bit. We have green, like green's the vibe, but we also have like yellowy tones and we have like a bluey shade in here. It steps out of the box a little bit, which I love. We have two multi-chromes and a duochrome. This was my favorite from that little collection. It's just so freaking cute. But it is on the monochromatic side of things, so I didn't really want to rank it much higher. I have other things that I like more. Number 66 is the Sigma and Angela Bright palette. Don't come for me. I kept the palette. It just isn't like my go-to one that I'm going to continue reaching for, but I really, really enjoyed this. I think she did a great job. I really, really enjoy Angela. I think this color story is really cool. And even though there are like these pops of neutral that I personally don't care about, I love all the other things. I like those pops of jewel toned. I like the richness. The Champagne Problem shade is so wet looking on the lids. Love the Taylor Swift references in here. Overall, I think this is cute. It feels very, I don't know, just like earthy fairy vibes. It's very cute. I like it. I feel like just a good go-to palette. Number 65 is my Allie Dawson and Ofra collab, the Falling in Love palette. Allie Dawson is one of my friends. I hang out with her fairly frequently actually, and I think she did such a great job with this. Like, I mean, it's those classic fall colors. This highlight shade in the middle is so bright. Ofra's not really a brand I shop for. This is one of the only things I've ever tried from the brand, but when she was sending out PR, I wanted to support my friend, so I think this is cute. I enjoyed it. The only reason I didn't rank it higher is just because it is only 5 shades. There's a lot of other palettes with a lot of other options for me going forward, so I don't want you to think I ranked this low because I think it's bad, because I don't. I'm very happy for my friend. It's only 5 shades, and I like a little bit more than that. I don't typically love a giant palette, but I do typically like 9 at the minimum. 9 to 15 is my favorite range. Such a good sweet spot. Number 64 is the Surrender palette from Unearthly. This came in their like Valentine's mystery box earlier in the year, and this is so cute. I love these smoky, like date night kind of vibes. I love the reds with the burgundies, the pop of purple. It's very cute, very smoky, very cool. I only didn't rank it higher just because I feel like there are a couple like pops of neutral that I don't care about, but I do still think overall this is really, really pretty. I really enjoyed it. I like these pops of pink over here. It's all very cute. Number 63 is my Deep Sea Treasures palette from Cleona. This is stunning. Cleona has so many beautiful multi-chromes, and these are mouth-wateringly good. The only reason I ranked this as low as I did is just because it's an all shimmer palette, and I'm not usually someone to favor all shimmer palettes. I like them. I feel like they have their place, but it's just not my favorite type of palette. So I didn't really want to rank it higher. There's other things I'm more likely to reach for. But I do still love this, and I'm actually going to be storing this with my singles, I think, just so that I can easily pluck these out for like build your own palette situations and stuff like that, because these are stunning. Number 62 is my Best Mattes palette from Bella Beauty Bar in collaboration with Ellie Starr and Brittany Huffman. I'm actually wearing this as my mattes today. It's a wonderful palette. It's very cool. It is a ginormous all matte situation. These pans are magnetic, so you can move them all around. I moved mine all around. This isn't the normal format it came in. I think these are beautiful. I love how many different undertones we have. I love that you can move this around. Like again, I will be reaching into this for build your own palette things because it's so many beautiful colors. I love how many like weird shades they are. The only reason I didn't rank it higher is just because one, I don't tend to love giant palettes, and two, it's all matte, and I don't tend to do all matte looks. Like I'm going to reach for other things for shimmers, which is the point of this palette. I like that I have this to play with when I want to just play with a specific single shimmer or something like that. I think that's a great use. I love the magnetic properties of it. It's just not going to be like one that I reach for all the time when I have so many other things, but I do still really, really enjoy this one. Don't get it twisted. I think it's great. And number 61 is the Tea Time palette from Wicked Widow Beauty. This is really freaking cute. Look how cute. Just this adorable little 8-pan Alice in Wonderland inspired situation. It is absolutely adorable. My only nitpicky thing is I wish there was a darker matte. I don't like that two of these shimmers are like so intense and depthy. That's a word now. While all the other mattes are more like lighter. That's just personal preference though. Overall, I love this though. I think the formulas are amazing. This brand is a brand I tried for the first time this year and I've been very, very impressed. I just sometimes have to be nitpicky when trying to figure out these rankings because when you love so many of the things, how do you rank the things? This was a hit. I really enjoyed it. Moving on now to number 60, it's going to be my Fighter palette from Fantasy Cosmetica. Love Fantasy Cosmetica. Like they are one of my favorite brands. I get so hyped when they're launching new things. I'm so excited for this brand. I feel like they are going to definitely go places. I'm so excited about them. This one just ended up not being like my #1 favorite from them. It's very much like a neutrals mixed metals kind of vibe, which I think is really cool. I like that we have all these different metallic kind of shades with like such vastly different undertones, like very mimicking like metallic shades, like rose gold, silver, like stuff like that. It's just not my personal go-to, but I do still think it's fantastic. This formula is amazing. Number 59 is the Okavango Safari from Nomad. This one's very, very cute. I like kind of these earthy, grungy vibes, and even though I'm not a neutral person, I feel like this is very much neutrals with a twist. Like we have like the neutrally orangey top row, and then we have the dusty greens and the dusty gray blues. I think this is cool. I think it's unique. Is it one that I'm going to feel compelled to use all the time? Probably not, but I do still really enjoy it. I enjoy Nomad a lot. They're another brand I get really excited about. I know they're launching something in January and I cannot wait to see what it is. I think this is super, super cute. But one that I think is even cuter is number 58. Is it 58 that we're on? I think that was 59, 58, sure. Begonia from Ace Beauté. This is the final one of that little travel series. Very freaking cute. Again, this steps outside of the monochrome greatly. Like we have very much grungy garden vibes with the greens and the burgundy purpley situations. This is so cute. I feel very creative when I use this one. This is honestly what I want all 4 of them to be. But this one did end up being my favorite just because it's definitely like more of a curated color story rather than just in that monochromatic box. Number 57 is another Nomad palette. This is the Verona Love and Death. This is a like kind of double palette like this. So you could look at it just as the death side or the love side or pair them together. I thought this was really cute. I think it's a really, really cute concept. I love kind of the 2 different energies that you could focus on separately or bring together. I thought this was a cool concept. I thought it was a cool color story. Again, we're kind of in that range now where like, I genuinely like all of these. We're in that part of the video, but I don't feel like so different palette to palette. Like I'm kind of in just that middle range where I'm like, I liked it. It was good. That's about all I can say. Number 56 is the Secret Grove palette from Gourmet Girls. This one's really cute. I think it's fun. We have, again, kind of that fairy garden energy. I like the shimmers that are in here. If I had to be nitpicky, my only nitpicky thought would be I honestly wish there were a couple more shimmers because I really, really like Gourmet Girls shimmer formula. Their mattes are good too, but their shimmers are like so good. Yeah, this one's fun. This is cute. It's not one that I feel like I'm gonna use all the time, but I think it's adorable and I really enjoy this brand. Number 55, I will blind you with this palette. This is the Smoky Glam from Bella Beauty Bar. And listen, I know I don't love giant palettes, Something about this they did so right. Their matte formula is so good in here, and the shimmers are mouth-wateringly shifty. This is gonna be such a good go-to when I want to feel so glam, because you can do so many things. Like I can do things in the pinky realm. I can do things in the cool tone greigey realm, which I love cool tones. We have the pops of purple in here. It's smoky, it's sultry, it's so good. I wore this, my 2 looks video with this actually, like in the morning, I did my first look for like a bridal like wedding shower. And then my look for look 2 that night was for emo night. Like it can go 2 different directions completely. I really enjoyed this one. It's just ginormous, so I didn't want to rank it higher than that. But it was done really well for it being a giant palette. Number 54 is the Chucky Crazy in Love palette from Glamlight. They sent this to me randomly back in February, which was so weird because like I'm not on their PR list. I've yet to receive anything else from them ever. But I got this palette and I really enjoyed it. It's, again, smoky and date night and vampy and lovely. I love the rich dark plums and the cool tone greigey slate colors. It's just such a cool vibe. It's not my vibe for every day. I mean, my vibe changes day to day, don't get me wrong. But like, I don't necessarily want to like wear dark plums and blacks every day, but I do still think it's pretty. I think it definitely has its place and I really enjoyed it. This one I was quite impressed by. And again, the only reason I ranked it so low, I don't even feel like we're at like the danger zone anymore by any means, but this is just so big. So I couldn't rank it any higher for my own brain. But this is number 53, the Pastel Garden, also from Bella Beauty Bar. They did so good with this. Again, I was super impressed with the formulas. The shimmers are stunning, and I feel like they managed to cram so many shades in here, but not be repetitive. They did so good with all the different undertones. This is beautiful. Like, what an ultimate pastel palette. Like, I will reach for this every spring. Going forward. I actually chatted about this more in a Battle of the Pastel Palettes video I did back in the spring, so if you want to see this compared to other pastel palettes, you can go check that out. But yeah, I think they did so good with this, but it's giant, and giant is not my favorite, so didn't want to rank it any higher, but I love it. Next up, number 52 is the Resurrection palette. I always want to say Resurgence. Resurgence is coming up. Resurrection palette from Wicked Widow Beauty. I was really impressed with this. I feel like they really stepped up their shimmers for this palette. It's gorgeous. The mattes are so beautiful. I like that even though this is a rainbow palette, there's funky shades in here. Like we have a lavender, this weird olivey green over here. I like this kind of mossy green up here. There's weirdness going on, and I really like that about it. But at the end of the day, it is a rainbow palette, and I don't love rainbow palettes, so I didn't want to rank it higher, but it's still beautiful. And next up, number 51 is my Resurgence palette from Heather Austin and Unearthly. I am so happy for Heather. She did such a beautiful job with this palette. I'm so happy for her. How cool is this? It's weird. It's smoky with bright pops of neon. This is just so cool. I love seeing that like bright primary blue and red together. It scratches an itch in my brain. I think the theme is cool. I think everything about this is so cool. I don't have anything negative to say about it. I just truly going based on vibes for this video. This is kind of where this one landed, but I absolutely love it. I love Heather. I think they did such a good job. Next up, number 50, the Don't Be Jelly palette from Unearthly. This is like the remastered version of the Don't Be Jelly, because they had a Don't Be Jelly and they brought it back under a totally different vibe. Like it's not even remotely similar to the first one. This is beautiful. I love this format. I love that Unearthly has been switching to this like longer palette format. It's so aesthetically pleasing. It's gorgeous. I love the blues and purples. The shimmers in here are stunning. Really, really, really like this one. Next up, number 49 is the Forest Heart palette in collaboration with Salem Cosmetics and Smink Barrow End on Instagram. They did such a good job with this. It's so freaking cute. I have one shade that wants to crumble into oblivion though, so I'm gonna be very careful and hold it kind of awkwardly. I love these grungy garden vibes. I love the greens, the purples. It's a cool color story. The shimmers in here are amazing. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm just so happy to see Salem like really stepping up their formulas, because I think they have so much potential, and I'm so happy to see them like really improving and expanding. They're just doing so many good things now, and I'm so happy to see it. This palette is beautiful. I've really enjoyed playing with it. Number 48 is my Wicked Widow Beauty Graveyard Smash. This is such a cutie little Halloween palette. Like, are you kidding me? Quintessential Halloween vibes. We have the purple, the green, the orange. It's so fun. I like the matte to shimmer ratio. I like that that purple has a good amount of depth. Overall, I thought this was really fun. Again, I wish I had a good reason on why this was ranked here. I just went based on what my heart told me. And this is where this one landed. It's so cute. It's very fun. I've very much enjoyed it. Number 47 is my Scissor Hands 2 palette from Wicked Widow Beauty. I do not own the first Scissor Hands. This was my first palette ever from the brand, actually. And I freaking love it. This made it in my winter favorites this year. I love these wintry, grungy vibes, the greens, the blues, the mustard yellow. These shimmers are incredible. I'm really excited about this brand. I'm excited to see more of what they do. I think they're doing really, really cool things, and this one is definitely my favorite they've done. Next up, 46, which I guess is technically like the middle, because there's like a bottom 45, there's a top 45, and now we have the exact middle. I love this palette. This is the Dia Rune Cosmetics, the Moth and the Moon palette. This is a new brand. This is their first palette, and they freaking killed it for their first palette. I think this is so pretty. I love these colors so much. These shimmers are insane. They're so reflective on the lids. And I really like all these colors. I do feel like the green matte is a little sheer for my taste. I wish it had a little more pigment, but it can be built up. It's beautiful. I love this palette. I've had a great time playing with it, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing what they do in the future. Now we're officially on the top 45 of the ranking. So let's continue. Number 45 is my Salem and the Witch revamped version from Salem Cosmetics. They came out with this palette in the past, and back when they first came out with it, the shimmers were very much satins. They were not very impactful. They were not my personal favorite. But they brought this palette back with revamped shimmers. They're beautiful. There's a couple holographic-y shades in here with like multicolored sparkles. Shifty, beautiful, magical. This was such an improvement. The mattes have always been good for this palette, but I'm so happy to see this revamped with better shimmers because it took it up another notch. I mean, I decluttered the original one last year, and then I wanted to keep it this year because it just improved so much. I'm so impressed. Next up, number 44 is the Delicious Delights palette from Cosmic Brushes. I love Cosmic Brushes. They became one of my favorite brands of all time this year, and this one is no exception. It's just absolutely stunning. I love this brights pastel situation. We have beautiful shimmers, stunning multi-chromes. They're so smooth and sparkly on the lids, and the mattes are gorgeous. Their mattes blend like butter. I barely have to work to make these mattes work. They are so freaking good. Number 43 is the Rich Romantic from Glaminatrix. I was so impressed with this. I feel like this is just such a cool color story. Like, this is so fun, so unique, and I feel like this can fit into so many different like seasonal trends so easily. Not that I necessarily feel the need to follow trends. I kind of do whatever I want day by day as far as makeup goes, but this feels very fall, but it also feels summer, spring. It's so cute. These shimmers are incredible. I love seeing all these pops of color in here. This one just definitely appealed to me more than the Sugar and Spice. I love that there's color, it's fun, it's creative. I really, really enjoyed this one. Number 42 is the Sickly Sweet from Blend Bunny. This is so cute. This was also the brand's first time doing like a chaotic layout, which had the makeup community divided, because if you don't know this brand, they usually do everything in a very like gradient sort of order. And they went a little wild with this, but I like it. I'm fine either way. I like the gradient. I like the chaos. Give me either one. The chaos does, I feel like, speak to my random chaotic color pairing brain really well. It makes me think outside the box and add like weird colors together that maybe I wouldn't have thought of, but I truly don't care about the layout. That's whatever. But this is beautiful. Love Blend Bunny, one of my all-time favorite brands. I think it's so cool. I love the shimmers. I love the mattes. Everything is good. I love their take on a pastel palette. And I love that there's pops of like grungy dark shades to add depth. Such a cool palette. And their shimmers just keep getting better and better, and I love to see it. Number 41 is my Peaches and Dreams palette from Shroud. This is their like springy palette they came out with this year. So cute. I love these like punchy, pastel-y kind of shades with the really beautiful, shifty, dimensional, sparkly shimmers. This is so, so freaking pretty, and I'm really, really excited about it. I think it's gorgeous. Okay, 40 more to go. We're getting through this. I am going to need to chug water by the time I'm done. Number 40 is the Ghost Town USA from Nomad Cosmetics. It's so freaking cool. I love this. This was their spooky palette launch of the year, and I'm a big fan. It's like dusty, grungy, ghost town vibes. It's really, really cool. Again, I love Nomad, and this palette is just such a cool, unique color story. Number 39 is the Midnight Serenade from Lethal. This came out recently, and I'm really, really enjoying it. I think these colors are cool. This made it into my winter favorites, if I'm not mistaken. I think these are just really pretty shades. I like the smoky aspect of it. It's like, I don't know, dusty and lovely and grungy. I use weird terms of endearment. And this one's just really cool. I'm really excited about it, especially because this was the first palette I tried after the 2-Up, which made me not happy. So I was happy to see that this one was good. Number 38 is the Grunge Life palette from Salem. This one's very cute. I have been calling it my grungy holiday palette because, I mean, that's exactly what this is. I feel like this will transcend into winter time in general, really nice, or just grungy looks in general. I love the metallic red. I love all the greens, that mustard yellow. It's a really cool palette, really cool color story. I'm into it. Number 37 is the Jewels and Gem from Odin's Eye. I loved this launch, the like whole stone and rock, jewels and gem. It was such a cool collection. George Divine, that's what the collection was called. Beautiful. Love this color story. I love these smoky purples. I think it's so romantic. It's just beautiful. It's playful. I love Odin's Eye so much. They're one of my favorite brands of all time, and I'm just excited about this palette. I think it's beautiful. It's elegant. The shimmers are so cool, and I'm very much into it. Number 36 is the Haunted palette from Gourmet Girls and Doodles by the Bunny. They have come out with 4 palettes. Now, one of them was last year, 3 of them were this year, and every single one of them I'm excited about. This is the Haunted. It's very fun, just playing more on that spooky vibe. I love a spooky themed palette, and this one made me so happy. I hope we continue to see like just themed palettes between this duo for a long time to come. It's very exciting to me. Number 35 is my Rogue palette from Fantasy Cosmetica. This one is so pretty. I don't know what it is. I'm really into these like smoky blues and purples right now. It's just so appealing to me, and this one's gorgeous. Again, their shimmers are breathtaking, their mattes are so cool, and this color story is so super fun. Number 34 is the Nomad Cosmetics Royal Europe. This is so pretty. I think this was, if I'm not mistaken, their first take at doing like jewel toned like multi-chromes, and it went so well. They're smooth and shifty and amazing. I love all these grungy jewel toned shades. I am a jewel toned lover, and this was really, really well done. Like definitely one of my favorites the brand has done. I think it's so cool. Next up, 33 is the Warlock palette, also from Fantasy Cosmetica. I have dubbed this my grungy Skittles palette, and I stand by that. I think it's so cute, so super fun. It's like bright, but can be like so grungified, especially like with that black, and some of these shimmers just have such cool, weird shifts to them. Really, really into it. I felt so cool when I've worn this palette. Number 32 is the Siren Sunset from Lunar Beauty. And listen, I know I've already talked about some beachy palettes, but to me, this was a beachy palette done so right for me. It's cool tone neutrals, which makes me so happy. And then I love the combination of the blues, purples, greens. The shimmers in here are so cool. This is beautiful. I feel like this was a really, I don't know, it was just executed so well. I can't put my finger on it. I think it's probably just the fact that it leans more cool tone than warm, which beachy, mermaidy palettes tend to lean warm. I love this. I love Lunar Beauty. I think this is a really, really cool palette. And number 31 is the Cozy Cabin Holiday Edition from Simply Posh. This is a newer brand to me, and I'm very impressed with them so far. I think they are doing really good things. Their shimmers are so sparkly and twinkly and beautiful, and I am just so freaking impressed. I love the lights meets the grungy darker shades. Very, very cool. Moving on to number 30, it's the In My Dreams palette between Salem Cosmetics and Sassy Fairy. This is also a very recent launch, and I was very impressed by it. I'm just, again, I think I'm just really into smoky blues and purples right now, but this was just so well done. I think the shimmers are stunning. These colors all play together so well, and I really like seeing just like a smaller palette from them. They've done 9 pans before, but I really like to see it. I'm just such a sucker for a 9 pan though. It's like my favorite. Number 29 is my Halloween Town palette from Melt Cosmetics with Nightmare Before Christmas. It's so cool, so fun. I'm a big Nightmare Before Christmas fan, and this makes me so happy. I love that they did a whole Halloween Town collection, and then soon after launched the Christmas Town collection, which we will get into. But this is beautiful. To me, this represents Sally so well. The mattes are beautiful. The metallics are so cute. And I'm just such a sucker for Melt. Partnering with one of my favorite entities, this is a match made in heaven. Next up, we have some back-to-back Odin's Eye ones because I kind of liked these all pretty much the same, and I didn't know what order to put them in, but I did settle on an order. Number 28 is the Snow Dream. This is their limited edition holiday palette from this year. Well, one of them. They did 2. But it's so cute. I was calling it my Christmas cookie palette because it looks like a Christmas sugar cookie. It's very adorable. There's like a holographic shade in here. It's very fun. The only reason I didn't rank this like higher than the upcoming Odin's Eye ones is just because with this palette, it's a Christmas palette. It's like you're gonna do Christmas looks probably every single time. It's definitely just playing on that like red, green, neutral. It's beautiful. I love their formulas, but it's just not like one that I see myself using like constantly, but I love Odin's Eye so much that I did still want to rank this really highly. I was very impressed by it. I loved playing with it. I'm just not necessarily going to do Christmas vibes year round. 37 is the Hey Reindeer. This was the other limited edition holiday palette that they did, and it's so cute. And this one I feel like doesn't really feel Christmas at all, but I do like that about it because I could feel more compelled to reach for this. I think this would be beautiful in the springtime even. It's so cute. This Candy Canes Multichrome is stunning. This is a really fun palette. Number 36 is the Trick or Treat palette from Angelica and Odin's Eye from their Halloween collection. This is so freaking cool. I love the spooky Halloween vibes. It makes me really happy. I love the bright oranges with the bright greens. I love the grungy yellows. This dark green shimmer, I could swim in it. It's so freaking pretty. I love this one. And then number 25 is my Little Ghost palette from also the Halloween collection. If I had to like pick a favorite between the two, I think it's this one. I mean, again, I could probably have interchanged all four of these Odin's Eye ones. It's just, I loved them all so much and it was hard to even rank them against each other, but this is where I landed. I think it's so pretty. I love the blue purple vibe. I love that yellow matte. It's so pretty. It's such a beautiful pop. I think this one is so fun. Moving on to number 24, I'm giving it to my Wildflower palette from Lethal Cosmetics. This is so pretty. I was obsessed with this back when it came out in the springtime. It's just gorgeous. It feels so elegant and fairy-like. The shimmers in here are so glossy and shifty looking. I love them. They're so freaking pretty. Number 23 is the Serenity palette from Cosmic Brushes. This was all the rage last year and I finally got my hands on it this year. And I'm so glad I did. Unfortunately, I did have a casualty. I broke half of a shade. Don't even know how it happened. So I'm gonna hold it awkwardly again. But it's just beautiful. It's such a good combination of brights, colorful, grunge. It's everything that I want in a palette. It's so freaking cool. Honestly, I thought this one was gonna get ranked a little bit higher. I mean, I don't think it's in a bad spot at all by any means, but everything else just beat it out by just a little bit. But I'm obsessed with this. I think it's so pretty. I took this traveling over the summer. That could be why it broke. Love this one. Number 22 is Nightshade from Gourmet Girls and Doodles by the Bunny. We got another spooky palette. This one's very much like spooky plant vibes. We have like the purple, green, yellow. It's so yummy, so delicious. Again, I love the shimmers and this color story is just so cool. You gotta love it. And number 21 is the Sugar and Grunge palette from Blend Bunny. This one is so freaking cool. It's just, are you kidding me? Kind of pairing these like dusty pastels into a grungified way. I like these kind of dingy undertones for these like brighter colors. The shimmers are so cool. I really, really liked this one. I had such a fun time playing with it. We're officially in the top 20. I feel like I've been talking for 500 hours. But I'm very excited about these top 20 palettes. They make my heart very happy. Number 20 is gonna be my Flower Moon palette from Ensley Rain. This is also a newer brand to me this year and I've really, really been enjoying them. I think they're doing really cool things. I love this kind of like sparkly fairy garden energy. It's so cool. Really, really excited about it. Number 19 is my Gothic palette from Cosmic Brushes. I initially skipped this one and then I picked it up later and I'm so glad that I did because it's beautiful. It is so stunning on the eyes. The way these shimmers look are so intense. I love the smoky, plummy aspect. It is so, so, so cool. And I feel like in person, it's a lot less monochromatic than I thought it was gonna be, especially just because so many of these shimmers have beautiful shifts and it kind of like can take a different direction. This is so cool. Number 18 is my Twisted Tea Party palette from Ensley Rain. It's very, very cool. I just love these colors. I feel like it's such a good combo of like these weird grungy shades, but then like there's pops of brightness and all of these shimmers are mouth-watering. They're so pretty. I love them. Number 17 is my Cold Moon palette. They only just launched this one. Like I think my video with this is like 2 videos before this and I'm in love. Like, I mean, again, if I'm gonna play with neutrals, it's gonna be cool tones and this is very much cool tone neutrals with a twist. We have other undertones going on. The shimmers are so sparkly and shifty and magical. This is so pretty. Like, this is gonna be a go-to neutral palette for me for sure. I feel like at some point next year, I do wanna do like an updated like my favorite neutral palettes with a twist because it's been a minute and this will definitely be in there. Number 16 is the other most recent Doodles by the Bunny Gourmet Girls collab. It's the Silent Night palette. I love this one. I just think aesthetically, this is such a cool color story. I love the cool neutrals with the rich blues, the golds. It's so cool. And I'm very into this for winter right now, so I'm sure that's skewing my opinion a little bit. But I love this. I'm just so enamored by it. I think it's so pretty. Number 15 is the Aurora Lights palette from Simply Posh. It is so cool. Look how pretty this is. I love this. I think it is absolutely gorgeous. I love these pastels with these rich, yummy jewel tones and then all of these shimmers. Oh my gosh, the shifts in them, it makes me want to cry. They're just so pretty. And I am very impressed with this one. Number 14 is my Fall Magic Remastered from Unearthly. I never owned the original Fall Magic, but I love the Fall Magic Remastered. It's so cool. Again, I'm loving this format that they're doing. Unearthly, if you watch this, please do this forever. It makes me so happy. These mattes are beautiful. They blend so beautifully buttery. I love these shimmers. They are gorgeous and shifty and so incredibly sparkly. I'm blown away. They've been doing so many good things lately, and I just want to keep it coming. Number 13 is my Lands of Enchantment from Ensley Rain. This is so cool. Very much a like winter fairy wonderland. Pastel-y, but also like pops of depth. The shimmers are radiant. This is such a cool palette. And even though I'm not usually one to enjoy a giant palette like this, it just did something right for me. It scratched an itch in my brain and I love it. Number 12 is Blend Bunny's newest palette, Machina. I don't know how the brand intended. I call it the robot palette. And it's very cool. The message behind it is beautiful. She was doing this with her dad. It's very much a like life meets robot kind of side, like human versus robots type thing. I love these colors together. Seeing like the corally row next to that grungy green row is so satisfying. I love the purples in here. This could definitely be Serge's cousin. Serge is my favorite palette from the brand and I love this. Honestly, this is possibly a close second. It's definitely in the top 3. Maybe, I don't know. I'll do a Blend Bunny ranking sometime next year. I will get to it. But this is very high in my opinion. This is beautiful, stunning, so freaking cool. Number 11 is my Christmas Town palette from Melt and Nightmare Before Christmas, that whole situation. This is the Christmas version. I got so happy when I saw that collaboration was not done and they were doing a whole Christmas half of it as well. This one blew me away. The topper shades that are in here, like this one's a pretty just like saturated metallic, which is fine. I like them from the brand, but these 3 are like super ultra sparkly toppers. They are delicious. I want them to do that every time. I love these rich purples with the rich reds. I like the weird greens. This is such a cool palette. Like this one for sure has to be in my top 3, but again, I will do a Melt ranking at some point again. Oh, we're on my top 10 of the year. These are my top 10 favorite palettes that I tried this year. And there's no question about it. These palettes were truly unbeatable for me. First things first, number 10 is my Bejeweled palette from Bella Beauty Bar. It's gorgeous. Again, I know I've been a broken record this whole video, but I love jewel tones. It's just one of my favorite things. They're rich and saturated and yummy, and this is just gorgeous. I love Bella Beauty Bar's mattes, and I love their shimmers. There's so many beautiful multi-chromes. This Red Obsidian is so cool. It's like this darkened, like blackberry ruby shade. It is so insane. Number 9 is my Winter Wonderland from Cosmic Brushes. It's just so beautiful. Like this is truly a winter dream. I love the like purple meets blue meets teal. It's gorgeous. The multi-chromes in here are out of this world. I love this. I love that there's pastel meets depth. It is such a cool winter palette. Number 8 is my Unearthly Cosmetics Sorceress Smoke. This is quite possibly my favorite palette I've ever tried from the brand. It's beautiful. This is so incredible. I'm in love with it. I love these shimmers. Again, they are so ultra sparkly on the lids. I don't know what it is. And even though this is definitely like kind of leaning neutral, this is again like neutrals with a twist for me. It's grungy, it's weird, very like snake energy. It is so cool. I'm in love. I'm in love with all of these. This is the top 10. Of course, I'm in love with them. Number 7 is the Lure palette from Blend Bunny. This is so cool. Oh, I love this. I guess this one I obviously love more than the robot palettes. It's just gorgeous. This is a mermaidy, cool toned, delicious dream. I love the greens, purples, blues, pinks. So beautiful. The shimmers in here are outstanding. This multi-chrome over here, to die for. I live for this palette. I also like that this one was smaller. I think this is their smallest one they've done, if I'm not mistaken. They might have a 20 pan palette, but 24 is pretty small for them. They usually do 30. Number 6 is my Moonfall palette from Shroud. This launched at the very beginning of the year, and I'm in love with it. She kind of expanded upon her Moonfall singles and made a palette out of it with a few additional shades and beefing up the shimmers insanely. All of these have beautiful shifts. I love the grungy jewel tone situation. There's a theme here. You can definitely tell in my top 10 what I'm into, and it's grungy jewel tone magic. It's what I love. My top 5. These are my babies. I hold these so near and dear to my heart. Number 5 is the Recently De-Influenced by Bella Beauty Bar. I was so freaking impressed with this. Look how cool this is. What a weird, witchy, potion-y vampire. It's just magical. All the magical things exist in this palette. I love the greens with the weird purples and the pops of orange. This is such a cool palette. I loved all their Halloween launches this year, and this one was just so good. Number 4 is my Stone and Rock from Odin's Eye. This is by far one of my favorites the brand has ever done. It's a swamp witch in a palette. It is grungy, green, swampy, yucky, all the words that people would normally use as a negative word, I use out of love. This is insane. It's so pretty. The shimmers are so cool, and I feel so pretty in this one. It's like the perfect combination of pretty and grungy. Somebody always comments about the fact of how many times I say grungy, but when you have a collection like this, what other word am I supposed to use? My top 3 palettes, if you're one of my members, then you would have already known what my top 3 are, and it has not changed since filming that video. The Muse is my number 3. It's so good. This was my first palette from Cosmic Brushes, and I'm just still so in love with it. This is such a beautiful color story. Say it with me. It's grungy. Grungy meets colorful. It's muted and dusty, and it's just oh so beautiful. It made me fall so head over heels in love with the brand. The mattes blend like freaking butter, and the shimmers are just so delicious. I just love them. This is such an amazing palette. I don't know how the brand can ever beat this one. It's just to die for. Number 2 is my Harvest Moon from Ensley Rain. I love fall. I love spooky season, and I love grungy colors, and that's what this is, all wrapped up in a tight little box. It's so cute. I love these colors. All of these shimmers are so cool. These 2 right here, they have like multi-holographic little sparkles going through it. I love the different greens. There's so many cool things. I love this pop-in like orangey color. It's so cool. I really, really like this palette. It's just, oh, it's so good. I don't know how this brand is ever gonna beat this palette, honestly. And finally, my number 1 favorite palette that I used in 2023, the Basic Witch from Bella Beauty Bar. Who saw it coming? Probably a lot of you. I have not shut up about this palette. It's so cool. It's witchy and lovely and bright, and I will say it until the day I die, but if you missed out on the original Lunar Beauty Moonspell, maybe this one would be up your alley, because it's kind of the same vibes, but even better. Like, these shimmers are so intense and amazing and shifty, and like these mattes are just so good. I love everything about this palette. It has brought me so much joy. And yeah, that wraps it up for my ranking, all 91 palettes. I guess technically 94 if you count my 3 that I talked about earlier. So many palettes, tried so many cool things. I would love to hear your thoughts. Are any of my favorites your favorites, or any of my least favorites your favorites? If you'd like to, feel free to rank all of the palettes you've tried this year, but otherwise just leave me like a couple favorites. I would love to know what you were vibing with. And what are you excited about for next year? I have no idea what next year's even gonna bring. Like, so many top tier palettes came out this year. I don't know what next year's even gonna be like. It's gonna be fun though. If you made it to the end of this video, you know, why don't you just leave your current favorite emojis? We are closing out the year on a good note. Leave some positive, happy favorite emojis. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It helps my channel out a lot. And if you're not already, you can follow me over on Instagram. I'm battybean there as well. And also feel free to subscribe. I'm posting most days over here. You can also join my channel memberships. The link to sign up will be down below. You'll get fun little perks, including a members only video once a month. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Okay, bye.